Okay, good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo, first year in Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. We're learning Torah Avos right now. We're going to go further with our point we're learning to explore. We have here the two Gemoras in Megillah and in Sanhedrin that the Malach Yeshua wished to say Shira at the time of the Kriyas Yam Suf, and Hashem told them to refrain from saying the Shira. And as that, we'll just go back to one more point to see it wasn't the only time. There were two other times that Kodesh had the Malachi refrain from saying this. And then Pashas, according to the Mephosh, it's the abnormal Shira Hayom. But they weren't saying Shira especially for the downfall of the Egyptians at this particular point. They were saying the regular Shira. And Hashem told them it's not an appropriate day to sing Shira. Let's just go over that again. Yaakov, you'd like to read the Dalet in the Amar
Reish Lakish B'Shlosha Mekamot Akshu Malachei Asheret Lamar Shira. They wanted to sing Shira on three occasions. B'Nei Kodesh Baruch Hu V'lo Anichem, and he did not sort of permit them. He didn't give them the leave to do so. Eluhem, the Dor HaMavul during the flood. The Yam Suf, the Yam, the Chorban, the Mikdash.
Three specific times where the normal agenda of the Malachim was interrupted and disturbed because of the events happening in this world. Okay, well, let's take a look now at the, and that's because the Kodesh Baruch Hu claimed that, as you see in Gimel, go to the Torah's Chaim in the Sanhedrin.
This is in the Parshim on
yeah.
Like contemporary?
Fairly contemporary, yeah.
Maaseh Yedei.
Not a Rishon, in other words, not a Rishon.
Right. But I presume after Rashi, long after.
Yeah, really, yeah. Within the last 200 years or so.
Right. Maaseh Yedei Tovim V'yam. A story about, or a doing at the hands of drowning in the sea.
Okay, so this is the Kodesh Baruch Hu said to Malachim, my siyade, the work of my hands, meaning my creations, my siyade, Tovim V'yam. The work of my hands, my creations are drowning in the sea. Right. It's not appropriate to sing praises at this time.
Maaseh Yadai Tovim V'yam. The works of my hands are drowning in the sea. And then he comments, Lefisha Kol Nivra B'Ma'amar, because everything was created sort of with one saying,
with
one speech.
Yeah, with the utterance, with the statement, Kodesh Baruch Hu statement. Kodesh Baruch Hu created everything.
Right. Or 10 statements. I forget what. Because I actually just saw this in Figuring Rabbi Natan. It goes through everything.
Sure.
Adam Nivra B'Yadav Yibarach, and Adam, mankind was created with his hands.
So he's being medayek. What did Kodesh Baruch Hu say? Ma'aseh Yadav Tovim V'yam. The future called Nivra B'Maimer, right? Meaning everything in the universe was created with a mimer. Okay, but Adam was created B'Yadav Yizbar. I mean, the pasuk. You'll take a look at the pasuk there, right? There was actual and again, obviously there are no hands that a Kodesh Baruch Hu has. But all the verse is simply using this expression, this symbolic imagery, to explain to us that a Kodesh Baruch Hu, so to speak, was involved more with the specific creation of Adam than with anything else. It was not simply just a statement and things happened out of the utterance of the Kodesh Baruch Hu, so to speak. But rather Hashem was actually involved much more specifically with the creation of Adam.
Beautiful. Like a craftsman, there's more craftsmanship involved here.
Exactly.
Kemashma
Kasud.
Kemasha Ketsuv, as it is written, or the Tashet Alai Kapcha the Perush
Rashi Zal.
Perush Rashi is on Baracha. So I'm not sure what the first bit means. And it is written that Tashet Alai. This is a quote. Tashet Alai.
Right, this is a person. We'll need to quote that person for the time being because I want to have a chance to look that up.
Sure. Parish Rashi, the Parshat Reshit. Okay.
Kivyochel. As if it is.
As if it is Ki'ilu Haita Tircha Lifanav, as if it was a great strain before Hashem to do this labor. I guess is what we're saying. Lifanav Bevriat Adam Yoter Mishaer Kol Avriyot. It's almost as if we're saying that it was more difficult. If it even makes sense to use this lashon like Baruch Hu, more difficult to create man than it was with creation. As if there's such relativity with all infinite beings. Lekach neketz ma'aseh yadei tov'im v'yam ki'ilu amar. Well, certainly I'm understanding this. So lekach, therefore, neketz, he cleaned.
Well, no, he was chosen. Meaning, therefore, was chosen. Meaning, the expression was chosen. Meaning, when Hashem responded to the Malachi, in the Gemara quotes Kadosh Baruch Hu as saying, "Ma'aseh yadai tovim b'yam." The works of my hands are being drowned in the ocean. Right? So "Naket ma'aseh yadav tovim b'yam." It means "Naket," and you put a quote, "Naket," quote, "Ma'aseh yadai tovim b'yam," unquote. Right? So it was chosen that lashon. That expression was used, right, to describe what Hashem was, how Hashem was relating to the situation.
That is, so this specific lashon is meant to indicate that it required more koach, more etzem to do. Etzem yadi astazot atem amrin shira, and you understand shira.
Yeah, that was like the whole thrust of my strength, my powers was put into the creation of Adam, and it's being destroyed now. So is it appropriate that we should sing shira or something like that? Right? It's just I'm bringing this here because this gives an insight why that when the Gemara says, right, that the HaKodesh was not happy over the downfall, the destruction of the Yerushalyim, is because nevertheless, even though they may in fact be doing opposite to the will of the HaKodesh, opposite to the desire of the HaKodesh, opposite to the intention and the goal of the HaKodesh for having them been created, and therefore they have to be destroyed, right? Nevertheless, the actual destruction is much more serious because Hashem put so much, so to speak, effort into the creating of Adam. And he invested and he wanted and expected much more from Adam. He expected the fact that the Torah explains to us that Hashem is putting more efforts into the creation of Adam, also tells us that he is expecting much more. Right? The more that you put into a project, the more you hope for it to be successful. So when the success is lacking and the creations are being destroyed, right, that is even more of a reason why there shouldn't be shir. There's nothing, because what do the Malach want to do? They want to praise Hashem. What do they want to praise Hashem at the time that His own creations are being destroyed? The fact that the creations of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu are being destroyed itself reflects upon the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Right? You can't say it reflects badly, but it reflects. Any time you have something which is created, right? You have a chair, right? This chair reflects upon the one who created it. You have a painting, right? That painting tells you something about the painter, right? You have a suit, right? That's been tailored, right? If the suit is tailored well, you know that the tailor is a good tailor. If it's not tailored well, right? You know that the tailor is not a good tailor. The act of creation reflects upon the Creator, right? So here, if there's destruction, even though they may be destroying, the Yerushalyim have to be destroyed because of their wickedness, nevertheless, Hashem is not happy, number one, with that situation, and number two, it's not an appropriate time to say sure, because at the time of the destruction, that reflects unfavorably about HaKodesh Baruch Hu, because the creations are being destroyed, so that you see that the Shira is a contradiction. The praise at that time is a contradiction to the situation which is occurring.
I sort of see a couple of things here. One is that it seems to me that the Malachim are just, it's not that they're being insensitive per se, just that like they have a routine, and they're used to it.
For sure. No, that we know clearly. The Malachim, they don't have free choice like we have choice. They're more or less almost robotical, right? So when it says that Malachim, first of all, you have to realize if they didn't want to sing Shira, they would be punished for not doing that, because they're supposed to be saying Shira. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're in the middle of the king's court, right? So someone just told me there's a sefer. It's also in English called Vimnu Amen. It's a sefer all about the importance of saying Amen to brachas. So it brings a certain event that occurred. There was a Jew in a certain court of a certain non-Jewish king, and the Jew was davening mincha. A certain praise priest came in and gave a bracha to the king, right? So everyone in the court of the king said amen to the priest's blessing, except the Jew, because he was davening. Right? So the priest said, his blessing to the king is not going to come true because this Jew didn't say amen. So immediately they killed the Jew on the spot. So, if you're in the court of the king, you can't play games. There's etiquette, there's decor, there's things which have to be done, and if you don't follow the rules, that's the end of it. Right? So the Malachim also, they rightly should have said, just like we'll get to the Gemara's. Excuse me.
Hashem is different than a regular king.
What?
Hashem is not different than a regular king.
No, but you got to relate to the king as a king. You have to have, you have to have more year for the king than Ava for the king. It's very nice to love the king, but you have to. There's a medrash that says there was a certain region that there was a king that came and they said to the king, "We want you to be our king." So I said, "Okay, before you make me your king, you're a king. You have to swear to me that you'll be loyal to my commandments. It's very nice you want to make me king, but if you're not going to be loyal to my commandments, it's a joke, right? So you have to swear that you'll be loyal to my commandments." So you have to want to love the king very much. That's very nice, but you have to abide by his rules. You don't abide by his rules. It's a joke. So the Malachim. So we're understanding a little bit deeper. What does it mean that the Malachim? HaKodesh Baruch Hu said to the Malachim, right? There were three places that the Gemara mentions a specific time about the Kriyas Yamsuf, that the Malachim Bikshu on the front of Shir. They wanted to Shir to HaKodesh Baruch Hu. HaKodesh Baruch Hu said no. Why? He says, "My side, beyond the creations of my hands, so to speak, are drowning in the ocean, not proper." So there's the Torah's Chaim here says a pshat, Ma'aseh Yadai, that the creations of says that when the Torah explains to us that, as we'll see in the fifth parak of Be'asar Mamaris Nivra and so on. The HaKodesh Baruch Hu created the world with 10 statements, utterances, right? That goes for everything except Adam. Adam was created, you look at the Psukim, Adam was created, so to speak, with the actual hands of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Not the hands of Mamish, but the Pasuk's using this imagery, this symbolic imagery, to tell you Hashem put lots of effort into the creation of Adam. It wasn't an automatic thing. There was a special relationship that the HaKodesh Baruch Hu wanted to establish with Adam, that he was going to be the direct creation of Hashem, not an automatic creation. And so therefore, that gives us a deeper indication that Torah's Chaim was telling us why it's not an appropriate time to say Shira. Why? Because as I was saying just before, you have a creation. The creation reflects upon the Creator. Like I said, like if you have a suit that was tailored. It was tailored good, right? That shows that it's a good tailor. If it's not tailored good, it shows that he's got not a good tailor, right? You have a painting. If it's a good painting, right?
Good painter.
He's a good painter. Even a house painter. You look at if you know anything about house painting, if people they don't realize where he's being sloppy and where he's not, until the wife comes home and says, "Look, this is this, that. He didn't do this corner. This he got stuff on the floor. And the light switch cover is all full of paint and things like this. He was not careful, right? So that reflects on the kind of a painter the guy is, right? Everything's like that. Whatever a person does, right, that's going to reflect on the person who does it. So HaKodesh Baruch Hu, similarly, Havdil is the same, right? So when Hashem says to the Malachim, well, you can't see your Shira today because my Sayadav the my creations of my hands are being drowned in the sea, that reflects, right, so to speak, unfavorably on Hashem himself. Why? Because something that Hashem had created had to be destroyed. Right? The Mitzrayim, even though they deserved it, they had to be destroyed. So the fact that they're being destroyed now reflects unfavorably upon HaKodesh Baruch Hu as the aspect of HaKodesh Baruch Hu as a creator. Because if they were such great creations, they would be showing greatness to their creator. But they're not such great creations; they have to be destroyed. So that doesn't reflect favorably on HaKodesh Baruch Hu, right? So therefore, it's not time to say Shira. How can you praise Hashem when His own creations are being destroyed, and that reflects unfavorably upon HaKodesh Baruch Hu? It's not a time to say Shira.
How do we justify the name Solomon?
So we're going to get to that, but basically the answer is because we were in danger and Hashem saved us. So we're praising Hashem because of the fact that He saved us. Right? We have a whole different. They were wanting to sing their regular shira every day, right? Just like we saw over there that by the flood, by the Babel, they wanted to sing shira, and Hashem said, "No, it's not the time to sing your daily shira." At the time of the Korban Beis Hamikdash, they wanted to sing because that's their job. That's what we were explaining. I just said that the Malachim don't have. They don't make any kashmir. They know that this is their job, right? This is a Malach is like a robot in certain respects. That's its job. Right? So it would be worse if they said they're not going to sing shir. What do you mean not going to sing shir? Off with your head. I gave the example. There was this king that there was a priest came in and gave a blessing to the king, and there was a Jew that was also part of the entourage of the king in the court of the king, and he was davening mincha off in the corner. So the priest gave this blessing to the king, and everyone in the entourage gave a amen to the king's the priest's blessing over the king. So the priest saw that the Jew didn't do it because he was davening, right? So he said to the king, "My blessing over you is not going to be fulfilled because this Jew didn't say amen to the bracha that I gave you." So the king said, "Okay, off with his head, kill him." So you don't go against the rules when you're dealing with a king. You don't go against the rules. So I mentioned just previously that there was a certain region of the Gita that they wanted to have this king to be their leader, and so he said, if you want me to be your king, be your leader, you have to first swear allegiance to my commandments, to my mitzvahs, because otherwise it's a joke. You want to say, long live the king, long live the king, we love you the king, we love the king. I tell you to pay taxes, you're not paying taxes, what is it? Joke, you love long live the king. You pay taxes, I want taxes when you're not paying them. I tell you to go out and work, I tell you to go out to war, you better listen. That's what you have to do if you want a king. So the Malachim also, every day they sing Shira, There's a Mabul, there's a Korban Beis Hamikdash, there's a Kriyas Yamsuf, and the Mitzvah are dying in the Yamsuf. Okay, so they want to, Bikshu they wanted to, because that's what they should have, right? They didn't have, they're not obligated to think for themselves. They're supposed to do what they're supposed to do. Okay, so we'll stop, and then we'll switch over to the more Mr. Brew.
I heard Russia that gave an additional reason. He said, it was Rabbi Yitzhak Kerzner. He said, a shira is a special thing. There are 10 shiras, and I think 9 of them, we know 9 of them, and one remains to be sung at the later.
Correct.
And whenever there is a shira, it's because there is a new aspect of Hashem, a new chiddush into the midas of Hashem, the characteristics, how Hashem behaves, how Hashem acts towards the world and towards us. That's been revealed. And so the singing of the shira is a statement of that new thing. So he gave an example that Mizmor Shir Zabas was Adam. Adam wrote that. And the reason he wrote it was because when he saw the sun set on Friday night, he thought, this is it. I'm done for. The sun's never going to rise again. I'm going to die. And the fact is, he wasn't wrong. There was a trial that went on all night, and back and forth, because he had sinned, and whether he would, his life was in the balance.
Right.
So when he got up the next morning and he saw the sunrise, he sang this song. Of course, he was joyous, but it wasn't because of joy. That was not the main thing. The main thing was that mercy had been the attribute of mercy had been revealed. That God has just not only justice but also mercy. That was the new aspect of God that had been revealed to the world. So similar, he gave other examples. He talked about Hannah's song also, but then he got to Yerushalyim, and he said that when the Mitzrayim died, they didn't just go plop. They were thrashed around, and there was interactions between the different the sea and the different Mitzrayim, and the Jewish people could see that the Mitzrayim that were particularly cruel got more thrashing around, and they bopped up and down many times, and other ones just disappeared quickly. So the new aspect of Hashem that was revealed to the world was Hashem is specific in judgment, not just like the flood, wipe out everything, but that Hashem also has the midah of specifically judging in discriminating in a situation. So that was so when they were singing, they were celebrating this insight, this new insight into the way Hashem acts and how Hashem acted towards the world.
Right. So basically, it turns out that when the Jews were singing Shira Hamiyam, they were singing Shira because of Hashem's relationship with them, not because of the destruction of their enemies. That happened to be how Hashem was dealing with them. He was dealing with them, first of all, in a very positive way, bringing them the Tochayam, the Yavasha, in the midst of the sea on dry land. But also, part of that was that they got to see the destruction of their enemies. That's how Hashem was dealing with them. So they were praising Hashem for his, as you said, their insight into the judgments of Hashem on a specific level.
Yitro had the same concept. Yitro also.
Yeah, in what way? Yeah.
Yitro, about what he said, where he said Hashem showed by the Egyptians that there was punishment for what happened.
He understood that.
He understood that, and that's why he praised Hashem. Very good.
Oh, yeah.